people. And my strongest belief is when you're educated, you reduce your chances of being victimized. And a lot of people they're in a situation, they don't know what to do. And that's the big concern. And what we try to do is educate people and let them know exactly what they should be doing. Now, a couple of things about the police force. Let's start off with that. There are 17 police stations throughout Toronto. And there's also other squads that deal with drugs, homicide, and sexual assaults. Now, the big question is, for people, I want to ask as an open question, do you know what police station you live in? Because if you're in a situation and you need help, and you have any questions, who should you call? You should call the local police service. But unfortunately, some people are reluctant to call the police because they're afraid to, for whatever reason. Or they just don't know. So what I strongly suggest is, for example, you live in Dufferin, that's 13th Division. So what you would want to do is know what the number is, right? When you're looking at the various police stations, like 52 Division, which is the Young and University, 416, everything starts with 808, 5200, that's 52 Division. 11 Division, 416, 808, 11 Division, 1100. So that's the best way. And when should you call police? Well, you'll hear about an assault on the street, and so people walk by and they're a witness to it, and they don't know what to do, right? What would you do if you saw someone being assaulted down the street?
Call 911.
Immediately. And what would you provide them with?
Description of the individual, how they look.
Okay.
If it's a he or she. Where the incident took place.
Okay.
And I'll stand there and wait until the cop shows up.
Oh, perfect. Now, how many people would actually wait until the police arrive? Now, who wouldn't wait? Would anybody not wait and just continue onwards? And I find a lot of people, what they're concerned about is why they wouldn't stop, because they're afraid to, they don't know what would happen, and they continue on. But one thing you want to do for sure is call 911, exactly what you're saying is perfect. Provide your name. And in some cases you don't even have to provide your name. If you just want the police there, just give them the location, what's happening, who's involved, as well, like you said, a description of the person. The last thing you would want to do is just to walk away. Right? So that's the big thing, is always call the police. Now, that's a big question. Everybody has that concern. I call the police against this person and I'll be a witness in court. And you know what, that's what happens. You call the police, the person's arrested because you actually saw something that he or she committed, and now you have to go to court. And this is the big concern they have. What happens to me now? Will that person actually come and hurt me? Could actually come and kill me? Is that a possibility? The one thing, first of all, someone has committed a crime against you. You should not tolerate that, number one. You got to stand up to the person that has done that. I encourage you to call the police. The person's arrested. When the person's arrested, that person will have conditions to not associate with you directly or indirectly. If they do, they'll be rearrested. Most times, when a person's arrested, you're the better person. It's like a bully in school, right? You stand up to that person, and they back down real quickly. In some cases, people will try to intimidate the witness, intimidate the victim, and that occasionally happens. What we do, we'll rearrest that person again. Eventually that person gets the message. If there are major security concerns, we have a unit within the service that will assist with protecting you as well. But the one thing you need to understand is, like you go to some communities and someone's killed, there are witnesses, and they're really afraid to come forward. And it's difficult because they live in their community, and they've just witnessed someone kill someone. In some cases, they may even know who that person is, but they're afraid to come forward because their family lives in the community, and they don't want to jeopardize their family's lives. It's a very difficult answer what to do. But the one thing you want to do is you have to be very strong. You need to come forward because that person has committed a serious crime. You don't want that person to commit other crimes, because that's what happens. You empower them, they go out and they'll do it again. So the one thing is, you need to be strong. You need to at least call and seek advice on what to do, right? When it comes to the other thing, when it comes to bullying at school, just to make mention of that as well. Unfortunately, there are people that will try to bully other people, and that goes for adults as well. Is the one thing: do not tolerate anyone being abusive to you at all. If they touch you, that's an assault. That should be reported to the police. One thing is, if you're ever being abused at school or anywhere else, the big thing is to go to a school official, a police officer, your parents, and report that. because you should not be in a situation where someone actually pushes you around at all, period. That should be not tolerated by you or anyone else. And there should be some action against that one person. What they prey on, bullies, is the fact that you won't report it, right? And then again, it gets worse and worse and worse, where maybe in school they actually want money from you, or they actually steal money from you. If anyone actually steals money from you, that's actually a robbery. And that, again, that's a criminal offense, and that should be reported to police. But when it comes to bullies, the one thing is you want to stand up for yourself. You don't want to be put in a you don't want them to bully you at all. So from my experience, when it comes to bullies, stand up to them, don't tolerate it, but report it to someone. That's a big thing as well. If someone's actually following you, they're following you. Cross the street, the person crosses the street again. The one thing I would urge you to do right away is to pick up that phone, and that person will see you. And most times the person will stop. The last thing you want to do is just to continue forward and have that person follow you, because you don't know if that person's violent or not, or where that person's up to. So you want to put a stop to it quickly. Like you running in the middle of the street, getting attention, going into a storefront, yelling. That's great, because the worst thing they don't want that. They want to be discreet, and don't take a chance with your life. And by doing something like that, it's perfect. So
A lot as a police officer looking like you see me right now. I've also worked at a lot looking like Tony. So and Tony and I have dealt specifically with instances where people are impersonating police officers in Toronto. And it happens anywhere. But I want you to recognize what identification is. And Tony and I got very passionate about this earlier this year, because we realized that people didn't know what to look for. So Tony's full uniform, he's got his firearm on and everything else. You couldn't even tell that I have a firearm. Okay? A police officer that's wearing a firearm off duty will have the same firearm right there. Right? It's the same firearm. And you couldn't even tell I've got it there. Right? So a police officer's not going to do that to you very often. I hope nobody's going to do that. But that's what it looks like. Now, if you see me and I'm knocking on your door and I look like this and I say police, what should you do?
Let him in.
Identify it. If I go like this, now Tony, you have your wallet in your pocket. It's just in the back here.
It's the exact same thing.
It's the same badge. Now, is that good enough identification?
Yep.
No.
It's not good enough identification. That's a constable badge in Toronto, so the majority of officers you're going to see have that. As you go up higher in rank, the badges have different colors and things like that. They get gold colored and a little more decoration and things like that. This is not good without this, which is photo ID signed by the chief. That's called a police officer's warrant card. Okay? So a police officer like this would have to say, it's the police, Toronto Police, there's my badge, there's my photo, and you should look at that photo and make sure that is that person. And generally, this isn't going to happen to you. People don't impersonate police officers very often, but we have posted videos on YouTube if you want to see some instances where people have, and you'll know the difference. Now, if you're still not satisfied, if I'm at the door banging there saying, open up, I need to talk to you, and you're like, oh, I'm scared. What can you do to have an officer dressed in uniform show up?
Call the police.
If you're scared, is that a 911 call?
Yes.
You're right. That's a 911 call. And the dispatcher should know that I'm at your door, because I would have a radio and I would tell them that I'm at their door. That's not to say necessarily they will know, because sometimes things happen pretty fast, but they should know that there's police officers in the area. Okay, and they'll say it's okay to open the door. If you're still not okay to open the door, have a uniform officer dressed like Tony attend and verify that officer's identification. Yes? Police number. 808-2222. And what's the anonymous Crime Stoppers number?
Tips.
222 tips. Okay? And 1-800-222 tips works toll free anywhere in North America, and it routes to the call center that's handling the calls for the area that you're in, which is kind of neat. As well, you can text message tips anonymously. There's a website called smscrimetips.com, and it will show you exactly how to do text messages. Here in Toronto, you text TOR and your tip, and you send it off to